is day 2 of the reading rush. It's already about 11 a.m. so I did wake up quite early this morning, but we've been having issues in my apartment with water that is leaking out, so it's been a thing. And also I have some documents to send to study abroad, so I had to do that. But I did manage to read more last night before going to bed of The Outsiders. I am still really enjoying it. I would say the writing isn't necessarily like amazing, which isn't surprising because the author wrote this when she was 16, but it's still like not fun. Oh no, not that. It's really emotional. It's my kind of thing, very character driven, and there are lots of things that are happening and not really good things. So I feel for these characters and I hope they're going to be okay by the end. I'm pretty sure there's a movie also of this book, so I would like to watch that. But yes, it's pretty good. And that is one more word down for the reading rush. I did really enjoy this, though I wouldn't say it's like an amazing book, but I love the characters, and as I'm a character-driven reader, this was the kind of book for me. So I would recommend it. Yeah, I don't know, it was a nice book to read, and pretty quickly too. So that's nice. And now I'm probably going to go out because I want to go buy some tea and then probably read in a park. So I'll bring you with me to do that. I'm probably going to start Such a Fun Age. Yeah, that's the update, I think. Yeah, that's the only book that I want to read right now. So yeah. I'm back home. I read a bit of an audiobook, You're Not Listening. I started it this morning, kind of mostly when I was walking. It's not what I thought it would be, because I thought it was going to be a lot about body talk, and it is not. It's more about listening and talking about social media and the fact that we're not really listening to people anymore and how we should be, and that it improves health and just relationships in general, and that she just talks about some people who are really good listeners and how it improves their lives. I'm not sure I'm loving this completely, but it is interesting. Like, there are some bits about some studies on listening and just, yeah, science about that, and I always love science, so I'm finding it quite interesting. It's just that I would say I'm a pretty good listener. I know people always say that, or they don't, but like, it always sounds fake if you say you're good at something, even if you are. So I don't know, I think I am. So I'm not necessarily like learning a ton of stuff, but I'm starting a few, so that's what I want from the fiction. And I also did start Such a Fun Age by Kelly Reid when I was in the park. It was really nice, and I am liking it so far. I've only read, I don't know, like 30 pages, I would say, but it's quite good. If you don't know, so this story is about a woman who is a nanny for this very small kid. So the kid is white and she is a black woman. She's pretty young, I think she's like 25, and she goes to a grocery store with the kid, and people immediately think that she stole this kid and they want to get her arrested. So that is how the novel starts, and we follow her perspective as well as the mother of the child. And so far, yeah, I'm liking both of them, especially Amira, so the black woman. I don't know, I like her. I think she's really smart and nice, and she's just trying to find her way in life and trying to do things right. And I always like those kind of characters who just, they want to do right by everyone and by themselves, and I like rooting for people sometimes. I love unlikable characters a lot too, but sometimes it's nice to be able to root for someone. Also, so I went and got some tea. Unfortunately, the tea that my friend got me to try the other day isn't in, like, it's not in stock, it's just not made anymore, it's not sold. So I'm really sad about that, but I did get stuff that was like similar, so I'll be able to try that and see if it's any good. I think it's going to be. They smell so good. And I also got ice cream, peanut butter ice cream, because I really felt like eating peanut butter ice cream. I love peanut butter and anything with peanuts, really. So yeah, I could not resist. So yeah, that's Gabby. Okay, so I thought I would do the Racing to Read book tag while I make ginger beer. It's pretty easy. This tag was created by Ariel and Raylene for the Reading Rush, and so you can just do it in your vlog, which is what I'm doing. There are also other video challenges. The first was to make a cup of tea or coffee, and obviously I've done that multiple times. And the second is to match your outfit to a book, and I've also done that actually. Well, yesterday actually my outfit matched The Outsiders. That wasn't really meant to be, but it did. And today this ensemble I think matches the color of Such a Fun Age that I will put here with these flowers that are quite red, and these pants that are like a dark blue color. And so yeah, I'm going to do the Racing to Read book tag. The first question is warm up a book that stretches your mind, and for that I want to say Foundation that I read yesterday. This not only was stretching my mind in that it is a classic, and I like classics. I like to see how it shows me things about the world, and this one definitely did, but also like it's a dystopia, and the story stretches for so many decades, and that's something that I'm not used to, and I don't think I see a lot in books. So that's why I think it really stretched my mind, literally, because you cannot really see the scope of this book and the series unless you really think of it. So that's something. The second question is start line. What's a book that you started but never finished? For me, this is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. This book I have been meaning to read for like years and years and years, and then I actually did start it, so at the beginning of this year again, on audiobook, and I would say like the audiobook was really good and all, but in the end I was asking myself, after seeing some video I talked about it at the time, by Matthew Sharapa, who is one of my favorite booktubers, again, like down below always, and he was just making like this funny video about favorite books, and saying that people who say that their favorite book is Infinite Jest are just people who are trying to be intellectuals and stuff, but really no one really likes Infinite Jest. And honestly, I felt that, like, I have been meaning to read Infinite Jest because I had heard that it was a huge classic from the 1950s, and that it showed a lot of stuff about the American life at this time, and I was interested in for that. But really, I wasn't really enjoying myself reading the book. Like, I wasn't hating it at all. Like, the writing, I wouldn't say it's like the worst, but the point of Infinite Jest is that it's written to be a hard book to read. So obviously I wasn't really enjoying it to a point. Like, it's not like fantasy or anything. It's not like an escapist read at all, or just you didn't root for the characters. They were all just having terrible lives, being depressed and taking drugs. So I decided to DNF it forever. So that was the answer. Then I have Sprint, a book you read really quickly. Then I have The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm actually currently rereading this. I started before the reading verse started, so I'm probably going to get back to this once I finish my books for this week. This book I read like in 2017 first, and now I'm reading it because I didn't continue on with this series. I really enjoyed this series. Like, it's so much fun and it's really sweet and heartwarming. I read the first book so in like a day, on a Sunday morning, well, Sunday just in general during the day, and it was just so sweet. I love the characters, and the world it's really easy to read, and yeah, I don't know, I really like it, and I want to continue on with the series. I actually have all the other books on my shelves, so it's about time I get to them. Then I have Marathon, what's your favorite long book? That I have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is telling me that I didn't make my tea. Yeah, The Goldfinch is one of my favorite books of all time. I have read so twice, as I just said. I read it first like when I got back into reading in 2016, and then I read it again last year with some other people, and it was just great both times. I love the main character. He goes through so many horrible things, and I think people don't always enjoy this book for that, because you see, like, it's not enjoyable in that sense. Like, it's also really depressing and long, very very long, and it's written in a stream of consciousness way, which people either love or hate. I personally love that. So yeah, I don't know, I think that the fact that it is long actually enhances my experience of it, because it makes like the reading as hard as the experience is for the main character, and that's why I love this book so much. And just in general, like, at the first time I read it, I also wasn't in a great place in my life, so I was really relating to the main character. So yeah, so many reasons I adored this book. Then I have Hurdles, what's a book that had ups and downs? But I have The Wise Man's Fear that I read earlier this year. This one I really did enjoy. Like, I love this book in that it's the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicle, the first book being The Name of the Wind, and this series is just again really enjoyable. I love the magic system and just the cities in it and everything, the descriptions, but the pacing and some other stuff are always like very up and down. Like sometimes it's really great and you are going through the book really quickly, and then suddenly it starts slowing down and you're like, when is it going to pick up? And you continue because you know like that you like some things about the book, but it's hard sometimes. So yeah, that was the answer. Then I have Finish Line, a book you were proud to finish. For that I have Dune by Frank Herbert. This one, I used to love it. Like I read it first when I got into uni like 6 years ago, and I loved it so much back then, but then I reread it so this year or the year before, and it was just such a slog. Like basically, again, was because of the pacing. So the first part of it, so like it's about 500 pages or a bit more, and the first 200 are like really good. I was enjoying myself and all, and then it just slowed down so much, and the writing was incredibly dry. So I didn't want to continue, but I still forced myself to do so because it was one of my older self favorite books. So yeah, I finished it, but I didn't want to continue on with the series, so I haven't yet, and I don't plan to. And I do really like the world, however, and that's something that is really important in science fiction and fantasy. So like there's nothing to it, but I just wish that the writing was not as dry and that the pacing was better. I have Gold Medal, Best Book You've Read During a Readathon. And then I have Dress Code for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. I read this one for the Reading Rush last year, and it was just so sweet. Like it was about this girl who was growing up in this small town in the US, and she had a bunch of friends, and she was falling in love with her best friend, who is a girl, but also with her other best friend, who is a guy. And she's trying to come to terms with being bisexual, or not really knowing what she is, because she doesn't want to put labels on it, at least at the beginning. And she's also falling for someone else. It's a huge thing, and it was really sweet. And I love the bisexual rep, so feeling like I'm bisexual and I don't really see it much, and it was nice to see like her just trying to come to terms with herself, I guess. And just, yeah, I love friendships and small towns. Books and Lala, so Kayla, she also adores this book, and she said that it gave her vibes of Gilmore Girls, and Gilmore Girls is one of my favorite shows ever. I could literally rewatch it every year without fail, and I still love it. Like, it's amazing. I mean, some seasons are better than others, to be honest, but I still really love it, and like the feel that it gives me, the feeling, it's great. Then I have the last question, Participation Ribbon, an underrated book you wish got more attention. Thus I have Sal and Gabby Break the Universe by Carlos Hernandez. I read this book for the Booktube SFF Awards, and I adored it, and I went on and read the second book in the series as well, which was also amazing. So I can only say, like, go read it. It's really great. I loved like the characters in it, Sal and Gabby, but also like their parents and what was happening. I was just really into it, you know, like the great characters and the banter and the fun and sweetness. It's just wonderful. And also they kept talking about food, so I went on and ate some South American food after reading the second book, because he kept talking about enchiladas, I think it was, or something else. And so I went to a restaurant and I went and tried that stuff that I had never tried, and it was really good. So that was perfect to finish a great book. And so yeah, that was the tag. Feel free to tell me your answers also to this tag. I love recommendations always, so go ahead. Actually, I thought I would also talk to you about the booktuber of the day that I want you to go follow if you didn't know about them. So today I wanted to mention Seji, the Artisan Geek. I discovered her recently after everyone recommended Black booktubers, and I have been a patron of hers for a few months now, and she actually hosts a book club on her Patreon where we read diverse classics, and this month we're reading The Streets by Anne Petrie, and I'm so happy we're reading this. It's such a good book, and I would never have thought of picking it up, so for that already I thank her. But she just makes some of the best videos. They're really researched, and I think she scripts her reviews, but it doesn't feel like rehearsed still. I think it feels just great, and I love watching them. She's really articulate, and I wish I could speak about books like she does, to be honest. I could listen to her talk for hours, and I have, because she makes some videos that are actually quite long, but I don't mind. I adore hearing her talk. She's also really smart. She is taking classes in mathematics, I think, and so I'm a physics student, so like I think we align a lot. And I don't know, I love her videos, and if you didn't know about her already, you should. Yeah, she reads a lot of classics, but she also reads recent books. She likes many kinds of stuff, and she is also an artist, as you can imagine from her channel name. She recently made a video about a poem that she made, and showing also herself painting, and the painting was just beautiful, and also the poem. So I will link to that bit down below if you haven't seen it. I thought it was beautiful, and I rewatched it several times actually. So yeah, that was the booktuber of the day.
It kind of happens like in the middle of the story, which I've only ever seen that in one of the series, which is the Lumatia Chronicles. But I think it's so good because it gives you, so the main climax is sort of like a big sort of war scenario. And
I'm gonna be itching and choking. Come on, Phil, hurry up.
Okay, here we go. Connecting. I'm in Florida. Over. Mom.
Just because I like to use the Instagram challenges to also post like what I'm currently reading, but in order to get this, I'm gonna need my husband and probably like golden hour. So we're gonna put this off until the very end of the day. So in the meantime, I'm actually gonna take a backup photo just in case this doesn't turn out the way I want. And there's this thing I do pretty much every year for the Reading Rush.
So it's about 9:30 p.m. I'm sitting on my balcony. I'm probably gonna read a bit more of Such a Fun Age and then go to sleep. I'm still really tired, so I'll see you tomorrow probably. Have a nice day or whatever, night. Depends on the time where you are. But yeah, that's all for me. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Dream I know, deep up my feelings feel